Quote, the absence of a code has led in recent years to the misunderstanding that the justices of this court, unlike all the other jurists in this country, regard themselves as unrestricted by any ethics rules. To dispel this misunderstanding, we are issuing this code. See, they're only doing it to dispel this misunderstanding about how closely they have been following the ethics rules. See, paying off a Supreme Court justice with like an RV or buying his mom a house or the private jet and yacht trips. That was all a misunderstanding by us, the American public, about just how ethical that really is. Or something. Joining us now is Dahlia Lithwick. She's legal correspondent and senior editor at Slate. She's also the author of Lady Justice, Women, the Law, and the Battle to Save America. Dahlia, my friend, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Good to see you, Rachel.
How do you see this news that the Supreme Court has for the first time issued an ethics note, an ethics advisory that is apparently for us, but maybe not for them?
I like to think of it as an ethics aspiration. Like it's a little wish casting. It's the court saying, it's not us, it's you. You misunderstood our ethics rules, and so let us explain again these long-standing ethics rules that we have not abided by, but if we explain them again, you'll understand. Listen, you're right to be cynical, Rachel, and I think I want to say something in the vein of what you and Michael Beschloss were just talking about, which is it feels like it's a joke that this is how institutions police themselves, but it matters a little bit that the Supreme Court, for the first time in history, responds to an American public that demands that it police itself. And so I'm not happy about these rules, which are purely advisory, which everyone is going to tell you has no enforcement mechanism, that feels like more of the justice gaslighting us and telling us that we misunderstood the ethics rules all along. It matters a little bit to me that Justices Kavanaugh and Barrett and Kagan and the Chief Justice think this is important enough to do right now. And so I want to be as grumpy as you are, because these are not real rules. But I also want to signal that I think as far as institutions policing themselves go, the fact that the U.S. Supreme Court, for the first time in history, takes note of American public fury at its ethics violations matters a tiny bit.
Yeah, the responsiveness itself is an important part of the story here, and them recognizing that their legitimacy does depend on us believing that they have legitimacy, and that our opinion as a public matters. I take your point on that. On the specifics of what they put in print today, did they clarify their ethical rules in any way that would make a difference in any of the high-level headline scandals that we've seen that really do seem just like plain corruption and bribery scandals among a number of these judges?
No, it's the very opposite of that, Rachel. This is, to the extent that courts are meant to promulgate rules that either mean something looking backward or going forward, this does neither. Looking backward, it seems to exculpate the worst behavior we've seen. And going forward, this isn't a pledge or a promise. This isn't binding, as everybody has said. There's no mechanism by which to investigate or enforce these rules. So this is really like it's a Hallmark card from the court to us saying, like, trust us this time. We're really going to adhere to these rules that we promise we've adhered to all along. Nothing about this should make us feel good about going forward. Justices committing to something, because they will all decide for themselves. So, no, this isn't a code of ethics that can be cast in amber to mean something. I think it signals a court that wants to be in some kind of conversation. Conversation is a generous word. Let's call it a Sermon on the Mount. But like, I think an attempt to say, holy cow, our popularity ratings are plummeting. Our behavior has been appalling. People get that. They don't think there should be a scenario in which multi-billionaires are determining what cases come before the court and how those cases are decided. They get that now. And I think that the fact that Justices Thomas and Alito don't fully sign on to changing their conduct isn't the end game here. The end game is a court that feels that it has to answer to us. And I think that matters a little bit.
I hear you, and I think that's right. Dolly Lithwick, that's the kind of conversation that I really always enjoy having with you. You always teach me something. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Back at you, Rachel.